Welcome back to the Whatfix Digital Adoption Show and to part two of Decoding AI Top Leaders Inside on this transformation wave. In part one, we laid the essential groundwork exploring AI's foundational impact on technology, people, strategy, and learning. If you missed it, I highly recommend giving it a shot. Today, in our concluding episode of this special mini series, we dive even deeper. We are shifting from foundational understanding to AI's practical application, its role in specialized fields, real world industry benefits, and some bold prediction about the future of work. We have four exception leaders ready to share their unique perspectives: learning expert Nick Shackleton-Jones, gamification authority Carl Kapp, insurance specialist Ganesh Pandian, and future of work strategist Vikas Maheshwari. First up is Nick Shackleton-Jones, a distinguished author and expert in learning and performance. We asked Nick about the real role AI should play in learning, moving beyond simply generating content to providing genuine value. He discusses two key avenues: performance support and experience design, while also offering a critique of how many current AI applications are missing the mark.
What's the role of AI in all of this? Yeah. AI, if that's how you understand learning, can do one of two things. It can either be performance support, which is a little bit like sat nav in your car, which is as you're working, it can say, oh, here's a useful thing to know, or here's a useful person to connect to. So it's like Google on steroids. So that's good, AI sort of performance support. Or the other thing it can do is experience design. And you might think, how on earth does AI do experience design? Coaches, good example. It's like practice this conversation with a difficult conversation with an employee, or practice this difficult conversation with a customer or a client, this negotiation, let's say. So AI can be used effectively in two ways. One is performance support, the other is experience design. But what I have to say, and this is so important, almost every AI application on the market that I see at the moment is just churning out chocolate teapots more cheaply, is garbage, because they're just focusing on the old educational agenda, which is how can we feed content into the AI hopper and have it spit out a module that nobody wants and nobody needs and nobody will complete. And so sadly, because of this infection, this kind of toxic effect, if you like, of education, a lot of AI is pointed in the wrong direction. That is to say, just churning out more content that people don't need to fill these already disused content libraries. But if you think about AI in terms of performance support and experience design, you can do something that's useful, I think.
That was Nick Shackleton-Jones with a crucial reminder to focus AI and learning on what's genuinely useful: performance support and experience design, rather than just creating more chocolate teapots of unneeded content. Building on that theme of AI's practical application in design, our next guest is Carl Kapp, a renowned professor and global authority on gamification and learning technologies. Carl shares his vision for how AI can act as an exoskeleton for instructional designers, powerfully augmenting their skills and streamlining their processes, especially when combined with gamification, while still acknowledging where the human touch remains irreplaceable.
Yeah, I think AI is a great assistant. So I wrote an article way back that AI is your exoskeleton, right? So whatever you can do, so the exoskeleton being on the outside of your body, enhancing your muscles. So whatever we can do as instructional designers, we can do it better with AI. For example, I can come up with, if I have game ideas, like, hey, we're going to gamify this experience. And like, okay, let me brainstorm some gamification ideas. But if I go to AI and I say, hey, give me 10 brainstorm ideas on gamification, I get 10 instantly. Now, 9 of them might be garbage, but one might be one I never thought about before, and I can work with that. So combining my knowledge of gamification and AI's suggestion, I can run with that. And I think instructional designers are going to be the same way. I need a case study around these 4 parameters. Give me 3 case studies. And it can give you 3 case studies and you can say, this case study I think matches. Let me tweak it a little bit and then put that out there. So I really think it's going to be an enhancement to what we're able to do. It's not going to be a replacement, but it will enhance good instructional designers. It will streamline us a little bit. We can create good multiple choice questions. So I always say, it eliminates the stuff we don't like to do and allows us to focus on the things that we do to do, like action first learning, which is really learning at a deeper level. AI can create, here's a brief sheet or here's whatever, but it can't give you that emotional experience that you go, wow, I get it now. I really understand. There's a game, the MIT beer distribution game, and it teaches bottlenecks. And I used to teach about logistics, and I could teach us blue in the face about bottlenecks and phantom demand and that kind of stuff. But once people played the game, they were like, now I get it. I get what over ordering does and what panic ordering does. I get it. And so you're not going to get that experience from AI.
So we have heard about AI in learning and design, but where is generative AI delivering tangible value in specific industries right now? We pose this question to Ganesh Pandian, who brings extensive experience in AI solution for the insurance sector. He offers a counterpoint to some pessimistic industry predictions and details where he's seeing generative AI make a real difference today, from customer experience to operational productivity.
I would have to disagree with Forrester on this one because we are seeing more in direct benefit. No, I respect all the analysts because they bring a pragmatic view. They have access to more CXOs than us, but at least in our customers, what we are seeing more in direct benefits, right? The one part I would say is that, they are not reaching maybe full potential because there is lack of AI literacy. Obviously, regulation plays a key role. We talked about it. And some of the employees do not adapt it or even not aware of it, right? That's been some of the pilots, co-pilots has been rolled to their area. So addressing these is going to be critical. More communication, again, contextual help is required for users to adapt it as well. For what we are seeing right now is that you need to select, there is always a huge excitement when any new technology comes into market, right? Everybody wants to work on it. And Gen AI was one of the technology where every insurance company, every employee within insurance company had and motivation to work because it has truly evolutionized and everybody wants to know how it is going to impact me. Right? So where we are seeing the right use cases is there are three areas. One is that how do I improve my customer experience? So customer experience is one area where we are seeing a lot of benefit. So users can access 24/7 information, right? They don't have to wait for any human element, no wait time, no hold time. I can get to a customer service representative or a virtual agent at my time, no pressure. Localization, language translation is becoming mainstream, real-time language translation, contextual experience, and having an empathetic conversation. You could see some of those insurtech players and some of the contact center. You could switch the language real time. It will understand. It will not lose the context. It will give you still able to provide the right information, right? So that's one area that we are seeing. Second thing is that we are seeing is that where productivity in terms of both from the underwriting side as well as on the claim side. As you could know, in insurance, you need to go through a lot of documents to even underwrite a risk. So ensuring that it gives a lot of unstructured documents still happens. Like people send like 50 pages of documents, 60 pages of document, hundreds pages of document. So you need someone to summarize you what is very important for you to underwrite the risk so that underwriter doesn't have to go through it. So getting those kind of an information for underwriter. Similarly, for the claims, how do I ensure that I process the claims very quickly, go through all the assessment or AI-aided assessment, how do I take that into consideration and resolve the claims very quickly is going to be the key. So these are some of the other area that where we have seen in terms of productivity. In terms of, we are also seeing a lot of things on the sales side, especially on the live side. It could process score the prospect, create the personal email, create a quote that is specifically for them. So more on the sales distribution and servicing side also, we are seeing a lot of use cases, early adoption of use cases. What you will not see in insurance industry is like a mainstream, like rating engine is not going to be AI driven because all those things like we talked about is highly regulated, which it needs to be. You are not going to see some of the other typical challenges like bias and everything playing a key role here because you are not going to put it on a mainstream, but you are going to use it more for productivity gain, servicing, customer experience. So that's where we are seeing a lot of improved adoption, and that's where we have launched, and we have many of our use cases are live in production as well.
Fascinating real world examples from Ganesh Pandian on how AI is already enhancing customer interactions and driving efficiencies in the insurance sector, alongside a clear view of the adoption hurdles like AI literacy and regulation. Finally, to cap off our series, we have Vikas Maheshwari, a seasoned CHRO and strategist on the future of work. Vikas offers a bolder, perhaps more controversial perspective on AI's trajectory. He delves into the rise of AI agents and tackles the big question: is AI merely an augmentation tool, or is it, in some areas, a direct replacement of human effort? And what does this mean for the skills we'll be valuing most in the future?
Okay, so when you think of AI, here a lot of my colleagues, they come up and they say that AI augments, right? That AI is augmentative. And I'm going to say something very controversial, but it's bold to say. And I would say that, mark my words, you may after a year agree or disagree. I could be wrong. But I think in some areas, AI is actually a replacement. It is not augmentative. It is actually replacing. I know of people in some organizations who have certain elements of HR as full day jobs, preparing a 9 box, for example, a full day job. And I can tell you, with the right kind of a tech implementation, AI enabled, you can do this without a human interaction. Right. Yeah. So are we talking augmentation or are we talking replacement? And then comes this whole world of agentic AI, which actually is not just about content creation, or it's just not about generating a response to your prompt. It actually does a task. Yeah. Right. Am I wrong to say that they are going to replace, or are they just augmentative? It's something that we will have to wait and watch. But I'm willing to put a wager on saying that it's actually going to be replacing a lot of our efforts. And human jobs are made of efforts. If you are able to replace through an agentic AI 10 things that I do in a day, then what else am I supposed to do? That's true. But that also means that people who have adopted AI or who are adopting AI, they have to think a little differently. Yeah. You have to open up your brains to say that, okay, if this is gone, this part of my job is gone, then what else can I do? And how do I make myself relevant? Okay. And I'm not saying that we have to upskill ourselves on Python and neural networks and take control of forward or backward propagation on an AI model. None of that. But how smartly are we able to use AI? And here's my second big bold statement. Okay, I think that the next few years is going to be a lot of disruption in the way of working, especially because of agentic AI. But then there will be a phase where human skills would become a premium, because people will realize, well, all of this is done, but there's something that's missing, and that's the empathy. All right. Initially, there'll be a lot of excitement around the glamour quotient of an AI. If that starts happening, then what are we left with? We're left with human interactions. We're left with empathy. We're left with human skills, and they will become a premium over the next. Once this whole phase of initial excitement of AI is done. And I was working with this company called NIIT Limited, and we were an IT education company. But then that was the phase. And a lot of people you're right, people used to say, oh, this is just a phase. You can't replace human interventions. But look at what Excel has done. So these disruptions happened, and people did lose jobs. Why are we not willing to admit that people have lost jobs because of an automation, and today because of AI? A recent Josh Person article and a podcast I was listening to, and Josh Person is my god, by the way. So he said that there are a lot of companies which have put the white collar hiring on freeze. Okay. Because they want to see whether with the impact of AI, do they really need these people? I get it if you're working in a blue collar space, working on a machine, but a white collar job, probably there are certain areas, there's certain tasks, as I keep saying, which will become redundant. Okay. And therefore, there is an impact on the jobs. And it is about time that somebody started saying that, guys, let's get our act together, get better at this, because this is coming. This is here. Yeah. This is not something that's going to happen 5 years down the line. Okay. This is right now, right here. Agentic AI is what you spoke about. It has to be a part of your organogram. You have to give it the right spot and consider that as a part of the team. And keep training it. When I say keep training it, I mean make it better. Okay, make it do better jobs. Yeah. From a 3.5 AI model to a 4.5, we've come to O1, which just doesn't listen and just doesn't read and just doesn't see, but also thinks. Yeah. So the O1 model of AI actually thinks. So why is that not a team member of mine? But I know a lot of people think that, what about me then? Well, let's look inside and let's see what else can we do. So you spoke about skills-based organization, right? The AI would give you recommendations, references, models, frameworks, but the eventual design of it will always be a human, right? But the transactions between that, transaction of implementation, transactions of getting some data together, all of that can be driven through an agent. So let's get that. So our focus is now more and more on design, okay, strategy, right? And then we move forward in life.
And that was Vikas Maheshwari with a thought-provoking look at AI's potential. He draws a compelling parallel to past technology shift, urging us to prepare and adapt. And with that, we conclude our two-part mini-series, Decoding AI. Across these episodes, 8 leaders have shared their invaluable insight from strategic adoption and human factors to practical application and future predictions. The common thread is clear. AI presents an undeniable wave of transformation, and navigating it successfully requires foresight, adaptability, a human centric approach, and a commitment to continuous learning. If you missed part 1 or wish to revisit any of these discussions, both episodes are available wherever you get your podcast from. And please do subscribe to the Whatfix Digital Adoption Show for more insightful conversation. And please do subscribe to the Digital Adoption Show for more insightful conversation on the evolving landscape of technology and work. Thank you for joining us for Decoding AI. I'm your host, Neha Smriti, signing off.